I think almost every investor out there is looking to try to find an advantage in the AI chase for stocks that are going to win based on artificial intelligence. Well, Tyler Crow and I have come up with two that are very under the radar that are absolutely going to benefit from artificial intelligence now and for years to come. I'm Jason Hall. This is Investing Unscripted. We're going to talk about those two under the radar AI stocks right now. One of them you've probably never heard of. The other one you've probably heard me talk about, but you're going to be surprised when I explain how artificial intelligence is benefiting it. Tyler, are you ready to talk about AI stocks?
One of them's about a company nobody's ever heard of. I wonder who has that stock.
That is most certainly Tyler Crow's stock. Before we get into the details on these stocks, though, this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. If you're looking for even more great stock ideas, you should go to our special link. It's fool.com/unscripted. In addition to the two great stock ideas we're going to give you on this video, if you go to that link, The Motley Fool is going to give you its 10 best stocks to buy right now for free. Definitely check that out. Tyler, I'm going to go first. We're going to save your fun, unknown, under the radar stock for the end of the show. I want people to hang around for that one.
Really build the drama.
Yeah, exactly. We're building up the tension here. But the main reason I want to do that is I want to just go ahead and talk about mine. I'm really excited about it. And I know it's going to be a bit of a surprise when I say Brookfield Infrastructure and people think, Hall, what are you doing? Are you just trying to shoehorn your favorite company into the AI race? And no, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. And here's the case for Brookfield Infrastructure. So first of all, for those that aren't familiar with the business, they own and operate infrastructure assets. So things like transportation, again, the infrastructure behind that, telecommunications, that's going to be pretty important for artificial intelligence. They also have a lot of energy assets as well. Water transmission, wastewater removal. Those are not really artificial intelligence plays. But here are three things that we know, Tyler, very much about artificial intelligence. Number one is it is creating a massive increase in demand for electricity. Power demand continues to grow. AI expansion, data centers are going to require more and more power to power the future of AI. And one of the things that Brookfield Infrastructure has done a tremendous amount over the past 3 or 4 years is focus more and more of its business on natural gas transmission. They've really invested in that a lot. They also have some power transmission assets as well that they've invested in. So they're benefiting from that. Now, they're also investing a lot of money in data. So they own data centers, telecommunications infrastructure, specifically, they're adding wireless infrastructure. Those are all things that are going to benefit significantly from the continued proliferation of AI. There's one more as well that we could see it become a big beneficiary for Brookfield Infrastructure. Sometime last year, a lot of investors in the semiconductor space are aware that Intel is investing significant dollars in trying to build out a contract manufacturing business. Part of that's building a foundry in Ohio. Well, guess who's going to own half of that facility? Brookfield reached a deal last year, particularly Brookfield Infrastructure. They're going to own half of that foundry, helping to fund it and to build it. And then they're going half of it. Semiconductor industry is going to be a massive winner because of AI. And now you have Brookfield Infrastructure that's going to be getting into the semiconductor industry, which I think it's a reasonable claim to say that semiconductors are a big part of the infrastructure of today and the future, Tyler. Now, what makes Brookfield Infrastructure particularly compelling right now, to me, Tyler, is that it trades for a really attractive valuation. This is an investment that's partly based on earning a good dividend. The dividend yields almost 5.5% now. That's about the highest yield you've seen consistently since going back to 2019. You go back to the IPO in 2007, they've consistently been able to grow that payout over time. And that's contributed enormously to Brookfield Infrastructure being a big long-term winner for investors. I think you think about the potential where they're lined up the business based on the trends for infrastructure spending, long-term history of performance. They're really good acquirers. They're really good sellers of assets too, and they're pretty good at operating those assets and generating great cash flows. Put all that together, I think Brookfield Infrastructure is a great, easy to miss out, lesser known way to profit from the future of artificial intelligence. Okay, Tyler, let's hear about your weirdo, completely unknown stock that's already been a huge winner. While Brookfield Infrastructure it's kind of gone through a little bit of a lull. The one you're going to talk about is actually up a ton.
Yeah. So, I heard your whole pitch about building out for Brookfield Infrastructure, and I started to think, man, that sounds like a lot of construction going on. And that's a pretty big theme when we talk about AI in general. You hear a lot of the big minds in AI today talking about demand for power, demand for data, basically, all the horsepower, for a lack of a better term, required to make AI possible. But that's going to require a lot of construction, especially mechanical and electrical construction, because right now, if you look at a data center, about 55% of all of the spending on a data center goes into the electrical, mechanical, and HVAC. So kind of gives you an idea of like where I'm going at here. And the company is MCore. Ticker is EME. It is the second or first, depending on which quarter it is, second or first largest mechanical, electrical, and HVAC subcontractor in the United States. They kind of switch off with another company, Quanta Services, from time to time on who is the largest. But the idea with this company is that electrical and mechanical construction is for AI. And if you really start to pull the lens back, anything that's related to advanced manufacturing or just manufacturing in general, the expansion of power transmission lines, what have you, on that end. So anything related to the CHIPS Act, anything related to advanced battery construction, EV plants. There is a massive amount of spending going on these industries, which require advanced manufacturing that has a lot of automation. Automation means lots of mechanical parts, lots of electrical, lots of HVAC, much more advanced manufacturing that we've seen 20, 30 years ago. As a result, it's been an absolute booming time for electrical mechanical construction. MCore uses a term, and this is pretty common in the construction industry. They have what's called the remaining performance obligations. It's kind of like the term that you use for backlog, but it's specific to backlog that's going to take more than 1 year to complete. So, short jobs that take less than a year aren't actually included on this. This is just big one year, more than 1 year jobs. And right now they have a RPO of about $9.1 billion. It's a 16% year over year. And again, this doesn't include any of the short stuff. And on top of the actual construction, because when we think of mechanical, electrical subcontractors and something like that, we think new construction, but a growing portion of the business is now on the maintenance side of it as well. Because if you're actually running a data center, every couple of years, you're going to have to do updates, maintenance, anything like that. And so they not only do they work with the general contractors that are the ones that are responsible for the building out of an entire data center, manufacturing, what have you. But then they also contract out specifically with the companies, an automotive manufacturer, for example, to do any repair, maintenance, or overhauls that are required for those systems within their buildings. So it gives you, it's almost kind of, how we've talked about, I think in the past, of like General Electric, where you've got a jet engine and you sell the jet engine once, but all of the service revenue afterwards is like one of the major profit centers. That's not too dissimilar to what we're seeing here. So you have this massive build out on top of, the construction that's a boom right now. You're going to have the growing maintenance base over time. Now, over the past year, earnings are up 79%. Management has been, projecting pretty strong revenue and earnings growth over the year. Their first quarter earnings their guidance was pulled back ever so slightly, but we've kind of seen a little bit of a slowing down economically. So that's not the most surprising thing in the world. But also the thing that I appreciate, because it's construction, the builder don't have to have like a lot of assets. You're not building a lot of owning factories or anything like that. You're a little bit less capital intense. So over the past 9-10 years, they've actually 55% of their operating cash flow has been gone to return to shareholders, either in the form of dividends or buybacks. So you get that added benefit of, this is a really good business growing really well, but also rewarding shareholders as a result. Right now, it's not the cheapest stock in the world. I think it's right around like 25 times earnings. Again, not the cheapest thing in the world, but I think for what the growth that we're seeing with this company and the expected growth from all of these secular tailwinds in the industry right now.
As appealing as the growth from AI is, and that's going to continue to be a meaningful part of their business. Other trends that you and I've talked about, the electrification of everything. So EVs, the shift away from natural gas appliances in residential construction to electric, that's a big positive trend. Nearshoring, friendshoring, however you want to describe it, right? Bringing more precision manufacturing into North America. That's a big positive trend for all of those things. So those are some massive secular trends on top of AI that you combine it. And I think MCore is certainly appealing.